Definitely appreciate you guys being here. I know y'all probably been running around the signing day at different schools around local schools. So, first, good class. There was a lot of local, really good talent, and we got some of that, and excited about those guys, and really. There was some more that I wish we could have took. So it was a good year for local talent for sure. So we always like to sign those guys. But overall class, we filled a lot of needs. We took more early this time than what we normally do. We did sign 7 or 8 kids early, and total I think we got around 23. Count what we took today with the 14 we got today, and just excited about those guys. We took some O-line, D-line. We took 4 apiece there. Feel like we filled some needs there, and for this class, I think the future class is going to be a really good class. So, skill wise, we took. Some running backs and some DBs and receivers that were really needed. So overall, we feel like we got a solid class, and look for some good things for this class. So I know you got probably some questions about local guys and different places that we signed guys from, but we kind of hit the Southeast. We went everywhere from Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and we got South Carolina and took a guy from Ohio, so it was a wide range of where we went to get kids. But commander coaches, they did a good job on the road, just selling our program and getting guys signed up, because recruiting process, it never ends. It just starts over with a new cycle kind of. But, we're getting to where, we're recruiting earlier and earlier, with guys. And you got to do that with early signing period, which I think has helped us because it kind of clears it up a little bit early. And this, class that you end up signing here at the end, it's a little bit easier to recruit. So, like I said, feel good about it.
Coach Cross, I know at times in the past you've said that you like your base recruiting area is like 3 to 5 hours from campus. This year, was it almost like 3 to 5 miles from campus? You got 4 from Calhoun County, and it sounds like you're really pleased that you could recruit a lot local.
Really are, and like I said, there was more of those guys that we wish we could have gotten. They either went to a D2 school or, lost some to bigger schools that we wish we could have kept at home. And I think anytime we can keep a really good football player at home to play at Jacksonville State, it's a benefit for everybody. It's a benefit for the player, just with, people that kind of watched him play in high school can come and see him. It's easy to come watch him play, and he's not 5-10 hours away from home, and I think it's just good to be able to do that. Helps our fan base as well, and we like to recruit those local kids. There was just so many of them this year, we couldn't keep all of them here, and they're, I feel like we lost some really good players just because we couldn't, either at that position didn't have enough scholarship money to keep that kid at home, or he maybe signed at a Power 5 or other 5 school. So like I said, we think we play good football around in the area. We know that we play good football in the state of Alabama, and we like to keep as many of those kids at home as we can. But like I said, it does make the recruiting trip a whole lot easier when you got to go a few miles down the road for sure.
I know at times in the past you've said that ideally you like to redshirt as many as you can. You like to give them a year on campus, but you did take some guys at some spots where you can probably use some help. We maybe look to this class a little bit more for just some guys who can contribute a little bit this fall.
But definitely. I mean, we played more freshmen last year than we ever have, and we've always had a guy or two, that plays as a freshman. And I think the rule change a couple of years ago really, it's the second year of that rule change, really benefits the player. And I think that's why rules are to be set that anything that benefits the player, we ought to be trying to do that and adapt the rule. But those guys getting to play in 4 games and be able to tell where they are is a measuring stick, and see if you need to burn their red shirt or they need to play. You can't put a price tag on that. That has really helped a lot of kids, and it helps our football team for those guys to be able to play. And like I said, I can give you past references where kids, didn't play enough as a freshman to merit burning their red shirt, and you would have loved to have them back at the end of that and go, well, that guy played, a handful of snaps a game as a freshman and didn't even play in every game, but because he played one play, you hadn't got him, and he's an All-American guy, and you'd like to have him back. or that freshman that you choose a red shirt to protect the kid, and you think you're helping that kid, but if you got to play that kid in 4 games, he may have developed and become a player that was playing 20, 25 snaps a game, and you would have needed to play him. So that rule has really, really helped that. But I do see in this class, as every class, there's some guys that could potentially help our football team, and I see those 4 games being very, very beneficial for our team. Number one, them playing, and them as a player being able to tell kind of where they're at. And I always, after that 4th game, I sit down and have individual meetings with that kid, and kind of see, hey, kind of where are you? Where are you? How many snaps are you playing? Is that merit burning the red shirt or not? And we always kind of look at the player first and kind of see where he's at. Because I always tell them this. I mean, we used to try to redshirt everybody. There's advantage to that. I mean, if you're on a full scholarship and you get the red shirt, hey, you can get 5 years of college paid for. So most of our guys, even in 4 years, get started on masters with how many hours we get. You finish a master's or come close to finishing a master's while you're playing. Redshirt is not a bad option. So there's a lot that goes into making that decision. But yeah, I do see some talented guys here that can step in and possibly help us next year.
You touched a little bit on this in your opening statement, but was there a priority in this class, a particular position that you really wanted to make sure you got some guys?
Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, if you're looking for guys to come in and play right now, I can't say that we go out and recruit guys to say, hey, we got to have this guy to play for us next year. I mean, you want diversity in every, position-wise in every class. So, you want to be spread out, and we do that by numbers. Hey, what are we losing? What we got coming back? And FCS football is almost like a math equation, a calculus problem for us. How much money we're spending at every position, because you got 63 scholarships to get 85. A lot of people don't know that, and there's a lot of calculations go into that. But like I said, you got to have X amount of O linemen, X amount of D linemen, and linebackers and DBs and receivers. So if you load up and you take 10 offensive linemen, this year you're going to be heavy in that class 4 years from now, so you're going to be graduating a bunch of those guys. So you got to take some of every position every year, okay? So that's kind of the way it is. You break it down, out of that 23, we took 4 offensive linemen, 3 running backs, 3 receivers, 2 tight ends, 4 D linemen, 2 linebackers, 4 DBs. And that's by design, and that's kind of some of these guys that we couldn't take locally that may have went to Division II or may have went, that we wish we could have took. Is a position we just can't overspend there to take that. And sometimes there's a lot of hurt feelings, and why you take this kid, you take that. It's not that we didn't like the kid. We may have loved the kid. It's just, we had other guys that committed earlier and we took that was maybe higher on the board and all those things. So it's a process. Like I said, it never ends.
You're saying it's also like trying to balance.
It is. You got to balance it. You got to balance it. And, you do from redshirting and losing kids through nutrition. I mean, sometimes you'll get heavy at a position. Like last year, we were really, really heavy defensive end. 2 years ago, we had lost Darius Jackson, Dalton Campbell. Well, last year, we lost 7 of those guys. So it's the reason you looked out there on the field this year, and we they kind of caught up with us. We were playing all young kids, and those guys did a really good job, and they're going to be better for it next year. But, we were freshmen, all freshmen, redshirt freshmen this year, at that defensive end spot. So, which is going to be good for them guys down the line because they got tons of experience this year. But it's really not where you want to be. If you drew it up as a coach, you'd rather have, hey, I got 3 or 4 seniors, I got 3 or 4 juniors. I mean, it's spread out by 2s and 3s. In that class. It don't always work that way. So it don't always work the way you draw it up, right, Mark?
Mm-hmm. What is the balancing act as far as the early guys and the late guys? You try to cap it at a certain number in December and then...
Yeah, it's kind of hard. That's a great question. I mean, when the early signing come out, I kind of sat on it. I like to be a little, more deliberate in decision making, and nobody knew how it was going to affect every level of recruiting, from Power 5 to Other 5 to FCS to Division II. So you just didn't know how it was going to affect and what it was going to do to the recruiting class. So we can sign, we've been signing 1 or 2 kids, and we've always taken it to mid-year 2 or 3, whether it be transfer or a JUCO kid, and you just didn't know how many to sign that first year. Last year we signed a few more. This year we signed not quite half the class, but close to that. We'll probably sign a little bit more next year because there are a lot of good players at the end, you know where it's at. But it cleans it up a lot. You know, your Power 5 guys are pretty much there. 90% of them are going to go in December. Okay, and that kind of cleans it up for the other group of 5 in FCS, and it's gotten to where more and more folks has got calls of attendance. They sign almost a full class early. You know, we're not going to be able to do that at this time. You know, so like I said, at the end, you just gotta try to hang on to them too. It's not as much of a hang on deal as it used to be, because you used to feel like you recruited a kid all year long and you got a great relationship and the kid's committed, and then you have a group of 5 or even a Power 5 that comes in and offers the kid a week before signing day, and the kid flips on you. You know, well, we in this class we probably could have signed 25, 26, and we've had a couple kids flip in the last 2 or 3 days because of that. But now it's not a half a dozen like it used to be. So it's and that's going to change. I mean, every rule change like that affects recruiting, and I don't think your normal fan realizes how much that really does affect recruiting, because there's a lot goes into it. I mean, sometimes you feel sorry for the kid. It's a hard decision for that kid to make, and they got people talking to them on this side, telling them they need to do this, and this other one telling them to do that. They don't know, and it's one of the biggest decisions they'll ever make in their life. So there's a lot of pressure on that as well. But fortunate too. I mean, not everybody's got the ability to play college football, right? So they got to get a chance to go get, part of college paid for, all of college paid for. So it's a blessing at the same time.
Tight end, why this been such a big part of your offense, especially with the size of your tight ends? It's like they're going to be able to kind of continue that.
Yes, I think so. I mean, we feel good about the ones we're getting signed, and like I said, we do use the tight end in our offense. Will always be a big part of what we do on offense. So, been really good there, and just hope to continue that.
What's this day like for a coach? I mean, they put so much time into this and meet so many kids, and now is it today just like a wait and see?
It is. You kind of wait and see, and I just feel like it's a big day, But you put the work in, and you feel like you've done. I'm kind of the same way on game day. I put all the work in before a week of practice and preparing. Your work's done. So your work's done, and you just kind of sit back and see how it plays out. And we do pretty good on relationships. Pretty much when a kid commits, we feel like we got him, and it's a genuine agreement, and you feel good about it. And then even like I mentioned, you lose a few kids here at the end. You feel good for that kid if it is a better opportunity for that kid. So. I try to look at it that way, and I treat them all like my own son, and advise them like their old high school football coach, because I spent a lot of times, I spent 22 years of my career advising kids about what they need to do and getting them in the right place. I still feel that way, and like I said, it's, we're going to play football here regardless if the ones we got here or ones we didn't get here. So I tell kids that all the time, recruiting, it'll all work out the way it's supposed to work out.
Usually keep 2 or 3 slots at least for late.
We do, and that's changing a little bit too. It's the transfer deal. Everybody thinks that we're 50% of our football team's transfers, and you hear all this stuff. It's less than 15% of our football team has been transfers over the last 7 years. So when you tell people that statistic, they'll go, well, that's not what I thought it was. Well, that's fact. I mean, we can fact check that as you want to. And really, if you took out 1 year where we took a little bit heavier, I think it was in 16. You take that year out, we're probably getting down there closer to the 10-12% margin. So and that is changing with. People are getting waivers. The NCAA is, and they've tightened down on that some, and some of these kids, the portal is not what everybody thinks the portal is. When you look at the percentages off the portal, all the kids going to the portal, everybody thinks, well, all these kids are getting scholarships. Well, yeah, maybe 4- and 5-star kids are sitting there with hat deals on signing day, and they're that caliber of kid. A Fields that goes from Georgia to Ohio State, yeah, that kid's landed all the time. Well, what about the 60-something% that don't land that goes into the portal? Because there's not enough. What these kids that go into the portal are not realizing, well, there's a whole nother class coming out right now. There's not enough scholarships to go around. And you look at statistics, it's in the 40s, maybe in the 30s of kids that actually go into the portal and get a scholarship. people don't know those facts. That's factual. So, and they all think, well, I can get a waiver, but it has affected your transfer deal some because kids can stay at the same level if they get a waiver. And kids are more reluctant to leave a cost of attendance, come down to FCS school like us that don't have cost of attendance. They're giving up money in their pocket. So, I mean, it's a little tougher on the transfer deal. And we've never tried to run our program off of transfers. If you try and do that, it's kind of like places that JUCO up. I mean, we've never done that route either. So we've had some great luck with transfers, and I think that's the reason everybody thinks that we are heavy transfers because we've had some high-profile players that are transfers, right? I mean, your Chris Landrums and folks like that in the world that's been All-Americans for us and really good faces of our program and stuff. And we'll always hunt those guys, okay? And we'll take them if we can get them. But it's very, very competitive as well with the waiver situation and all those things.
I only have one individual question. Ron Wiggins is a guy that kind of became a household name almost for the
Yes.
last couple of years. Got a chance to see him play over at Jacksonville High School. And to pull him from the guy that was getting a lot of interest from, like you said, the group of 5 teams, some Power 5 teams as well. How important was it getting a guy like him that was close by, but also a premier talent?
Very, very, very excited to get Ron. And Ron did have a lot of opportunities through the year, so we feel blessed to get him here at Jacksonville State. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player for us. And anytime you can get a guy like that to come, I think it helps him and us. That's like I go back to. He's a local legend at his high school. He put a team on his back and toted them to the state championship game, and he was the face of that program. I think he can do the same things here. I think he'll be an All-American here, and he's going to have a lot of folks that want to come see him play. And like I said, he's a really good football player, but he's a really good person, and I'm excited about adding him to our team. And it's fun to watch him develop, from the time he was a sophomore to a junior to a senior, and his recruiting process, they all get their own individual stories, and like I said, I think he's going to be an outstanding player for us.